In this video, we're going to be taking a look at how to create this little piece design. And it's a very common design that you see a lot, and there's some special tools here in EasyStone that's really going to make this process very, very simple. And perhaps you can take some of the techniques and utilize it for other types of designs that you may be looking to create as well. So first things first, we're just going to create a circle. Using CorelDRAW. So I grab my circle tool, hold my control key down, and that makes a perfect circle. And let's make it about, I don't know, let's just make it 3¼ inches. So there's my circle. So I'm going to come over here to my stone fill tab. And here we could choose what kind of stone we want. So we'll do cobalt blue. And we can choose the size of our stone and the spacing between stones. And then on the stone fill tab, I'm going to choose the add stone function here in island fill, and I'm going to choose 3 steps. And when I click island fill, boom, just that quickly we get those 3 steps, and there's actually 4, the original plus 3 inside. Now what we're going to do is take the 2, let me just zoom in here tight so we can see this. The second one, hold my shift key down, and so these 2, we're going to change the type of stone we're going to use, and let's even change the size to show you that it can be done. So when I come back over to my stone tab, if I choose add stones again, watch what happens here. We get the new stones and the new sizes as well, and it just replaced the existing ones. So that's kind of a cool thing. Now what I'm going to do here is I'm going to just drag over a guideline to show me where the center of this is. Now what I'd like to do is I'd like to go ahead and break these stones apart. When we add stones with EasyStone onto these pads, you can see that the stones are actually part of the path. So we're going to just select the whole lot, and we'll choose break stones, and that will divide. Now we're going to come in here, and we're just going to select these 3 stones across the bottom. So I selected one, I hold my shift key down and select the other 2, and a left click, and as I drag, I'm going to right click. That will create a set of duplicate stones as you see there. And then we're going to do the exact same thing. We're going to just move those up, duplicate, right click and duplicate. And then we're going to move these into position. Now the center stone actually has to be moved up a little bit, something like that. And we can get the spacing exactly, the way we want it. We got a little bit more spacing. There we go. Something like that. I'm very happy with that. Now to create the stones in between, we just select the 2 stones. So I select my bottom stone, hold my shift key down, select the top stone, and if I hold down my, let me just come back over here and change my color. If I hold down my shift key and click add stones, it will calculate the number of stones in between. And we'll do that for each of these 3. Shift, add stones, and shift add stones. Okay, so now again when we add stones, all of our stones are part of a path. So the first thing we need to do is select these 3 and choose the rename and fill, and that will change them to the current color, which is the crystal color, which is obviously what we wanted to do there. So the next thing we want to do is select those again, and choose the break stone function. And then we just pick whatever stone we want. We can just pick, and let's say we want to use this stone and this stone. Okay, so we select those 2 stones, shift, add stones. You can see we create some stones, and then we do the exact same thing. Shift, add stones, and there's our second, and one more. Shift, add stones. Alright, and then we just take a look at the spacing. I'm pretty happy with those. So now what we need to do is select those 3 groups. And because we had 2 different colored stones, it actually created this kind of gradient blend. So if we come back in here and choose the rename and fill, that is going to change all of those back to a color, which is fine. It's basically what we need to do anyhow. So the next thing we're going to do is select these 3. We're going to duplicate them. So I just hit the plus key on my keyboard. That duplicates them. And then I can flip it. And I can grab from the center point and drop to center point. Now there's actually stones on top of stones right here, but that's okay for this particular purpose, and there's actually stones now on top of stones there. See now? But that, again, that's okay. We're going to take care of all that here momentarily. So now that we have our design pretty well complete, all we have to do is all the cleanup work. If we go to wireframe mode here, we can see this a little bit better. All these lines that make up this design. Well, we need to get rid of all of those. So here's what we're going to do. We're just going to select the whole lot, and we're going to choose break stones, and that will break all the stones apart. And then the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to come over here to our selections tab and choose select define paths, and that will pick up all those lines that made up that piece symbol. And then we're going to take all of those and we're going to right click because we don't want no outline. By default, you can see we always get this black outline just because I think it's easier to see the stone that way. But when we get ready to finish this off, we don't want the outline. So we just now have our circles filled. Now we have circles on top of circles, so we need to check for that. So we'll come over here to the editing tab and click on the check spacing function, and it will go through and detect all the stones that are on top of one another. You can see the progress bar happening down here. We can also check the spacing between stones if we really wanted to, but in this case we're just searching for overlaps. There's 370 stones in this particular design. So you can see we did find a few overlapping stones. So we'll yes to go ahead and get rid of those. And that's fine, the spacing check is now complete. Now we do have 3 miscolored stones here. So we'll go ahead and take care of those. Just select those 3 stones and hit the rename and fill on the stone tab. And now that is pretty much complete. Now we do have a little bit more work to do. If I wanted to get the exact look over here, first things first, we can add a weed box. So over here on the miscellaneous tab for the weed margin, let's do, when you enter the value here, we're entering it in decimal places. So we'll do 15, or excuse me, not decimal places, but rather millimeters. There's 25 millimeters to an inch, so keep that in mind. Actually 25.4 if you really want to get technical. By typing in 15, we're doing a little bit over a ½ inch. So I choose add weed box, and you can see we get a weed box around our design. And then I'll select all the stones in our design and come over here to the stone tab, and we'll choose the simulate function. And once again, if you look down here, you have a progress bar to give you an idea. And basically what's happening is it's taking all the stones for this design and replacing them with a simulated stone. So the end result is a very realistic looking proof that you can send to your customer. Alright, so the simulation is now complete, and that gets us pretty much most of the way there. The only thing that we didn't do is we didn't add these little bling sparkles, so I'll show you how we did that. Let's go ahead and minimize Easy Stone for a moment. And to do that, we simply select all of our objects. I'm going to bring up my bling macro, and we're going to just go ahead and click on this button, and you can see all the little bling objects that were added. Now when it adds these, it does so randomly, and sometimes it'll stack things right on top of one another. So we just kind of spread these blings out a little bit, and there we go. I think that looks a little bit better. Go back to the enhanced mode there, and there you can see a really nice finished design ready to be sent to your customer for proof. We just would select the whole lot and export as a JPEG to send to your customer for final approval. Thanks for watching.